Welcome to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. And now, here's your host, Ron Donahue.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back once again to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. I am your host, Ronald Donahue, and tonight I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Jeff McIntosh.
Good evening, everybody. I've missed you. Happy November.
And Mr. Robert Menard.
Good evening, everyone. How's it going? Good to be back.
So, how was everybody's, did anybody do anything in particular for Halloween? Did you give out candy? I mean, candy is so expensive now. We gave out candy, but we gave out the cheap candy, you know, the huge bag for a couple bucks.
Yeah.
No full-size candy bars this way. What about you, Jeff? Any decorations or anything this year?
No, because I'm moving, I didn't want to go and put anything up and then have to take it back down. It rained all day Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We had absolutely no trick-or-treaters. And wow. I spent my Halloween evening at the ER with my wife. So.
Oh my. Yeah. Wow.
Yay.
Yay. We don't have, I'm telling you, I don't know what's going on, but every year where I'm at, we're having fewer and fewer trick-or-treaters. And the funny thing is, I forgot that pretty much now every night they put our sprinklers on for a while. It used to be like a couple times a week, but not every night. So I think it was about maybe 11 o'clock when I said, oh man, I got to bring the pumpkin in and bring in the candy or whatever. And I forgot that the sprinklers came on. So the candy was like swimming in water. So I just had to dump it all out. Yeah, it's just, but God, man, everything is candy is so expensive and everything. And so now I had to go to Walmart today. They have what little Halloween candy left is like either 50% off or 75% off. And it's still expensive when you take that much off, but that's where we're at right now, folks.
I know I looked at a bag of Kit Kats, you know, the miniature Kit Kats, and it had, I think, like 15 or 20 minis in the bag, and it was like $10. I said, "Jeez, I mean, it's just ridiculous." I bought my candy this year at Amazon. I bought like all Tootsie Rolls and Sucker Pops and things like that, and I ended up eating most of it. So
I know. Next year I might put out dental floss or something, toothbrushes. You know, that's cheaper than candy.
You know, some people were actually doing that as I was scrolling through social media. People were putting out instead of just a regular candy, they were putting ramen noodle soup and
ramen noodle soup.
Yeah, and people were kids were going up and grabbing that and wanting it more than anything else. So it was
well, I'm telling you, with the stuff with the SNAP benefits and governments not wanting to pay for people and the increased need for food pantries, that probably ain't a bad idea.
Yeah, for real. Realistically, it's not. That's true.
No, not at all. But I don't know. This year, it seemed that they did everything a little bit early to me. Rather than the week of Halloween, and Halloween fell on a Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
But everyone was doing it the prior week before, and now it was kind of weird. It's almost like Halloween snuck up on me, and by the time Halloween actually came, the actual date, it seemed like everyone was getting ready for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, Halloween wasn't even here, and they had moved all the Halloween stuff to one aisle in the store, and everything else was Christmas. I saw Christmas trees up before Halloween. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure by next week or the week after they'll be having the Valentine stuff up. I mean, it's they don't have
New Year's first.
Yeah, and then Valentine's before New Year's gets here, it's man, oh man, it's can we just have one holiday at a time? But geez, squeeze. Anyway,
marketing.
Yeah, you're right. All right, well, let's get started. So, the funny thing is, a couple different groups that I'm in on Facebook somebody, and I don't know if it was the guy who created the group or whatnot, but kept putting in there for the past couple of days, and I actually shared some information that was like the opposite of what he was saying. But there's talk that there's going to be a sequel to John Carpenter's like 1980 something film, The Thing. And what's really kind of peculiar about it, and I think I know at least why people are running with this idea that it's actually going to happen, is because I guess he was at a fan expo in Philadelphia, John Carpenter, earlier this year in May. And I guess one of the questions came up to ask him concerning The Thing, is there going to be a sequel or to this movie or whatever? And he said to the crowd, we're working on it. And actually the movie, The Thing, the original, came out in 1982. Then he says, I don't know, we'll see, meaning, that there's supposed to be this sequel. Now, this movie came out 43 years ago. And since that time, we've had a prequel that came out a few years ago that was supposed to take place just before the incidents happened in the 1982 movie. But the thing about it is, none of these movies actually did really great at the box office. And I'm sure now, because you have a lot of people throughout the years, like movies that come out, they don't do very well, but then they get like kind of like a cult following behind it. I'm pretty sure now, if they were to do another Thing movie, yeah, you'll probably get some people to go and see it. But be that as it may, I'm scratching my head trying to figure out, how would you even do a sequel? Well, put it like this. If you do a sequel for this movie, it can't be right there, right after the incident that took place in 1982 with what's his name?
Keith David and Kurt Russell.
Thank you. Because how are you going to have them on? How are you going to have them? Well, I mean, they can do it so that you don't look as old as you are on film now. But I think I can't see how that's going to happen. The only way I can see it is, okay, it was already determined that Keith David was the alien at the end of the movie. So let's say they just both froze. So then the government comes, takes the alien, freezes him, and somehow he gets thawed out, 40 years later, and starts that same stuff over again. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think that there's any merit to this? Do you think that, somebody's actually going to greenlight John Carpenter to do another Thing movie, either a reboot, if not a reboot, then a sequel to the original? What do you think, Jeff?
Well, the original Thing was 1951, black and white movie that Howard Hanks had Howard Hanks had done some work on that. And then, like you say, you jump up into the 80s and you have John Carpenter's movie. And
Right.
he took a lot of flack when that movie came out because of the special effects and, I'm going to call them, the gross special effects and the death of the dogs and,
Right.
the upside down head with the spider legs, all that stuff. And people really did not take very well to the first Thing. And then, you jet forward, some 30 odd years. And then, like you say, there was a prequel. And then I think that there was even another movie after that. So if you're talking about the Thing movies as a continuum, you're talking about at least 3 movies and maybe 4 movies.
Right.
And what's left to say? There's an alien, he's frozen, he's thawed, he comes back, he's pissed off, and he starts killing people. And at least like in the first movie, James Arness, who played the Thing,
Right.
was a blood drinker.
Right.
And that really wasn't emphasized in the John Carpenter version. It's just that
Mhm.
you know he could introduce part of his body into one of your orifices, and then you would mutate, and then you'd be a thing too.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. What are you thinking, Robert? Do you think one, is this even going to happen? Seeing again, like none of those thing films really did outstanding at the box office. But hey, John Carpenter is a like a legendary director. Do you think that this is actually going to even happen?
Well, for me, the with AI and the technology that they do have now, I think it'll be interesting to see it happen. I do think it may happen. Only because, like you guys were saying earlier, there's a lot of reboots that do occur with a lot of the movies, and they're not afraid to make 4 or 5 different versions of a movie now. And I think mainly just because of where technology has gone with it, with the special effects and everything. Even when you go from the original, because I saw the original thing, and then I saw the John Carpenter version of it,
Okay.
and just the difference there alone in where the special effects and everything went is a major leap
Right.
to what we have now with CGI and everything else. I think is going to take it a little bit further. As far as the premise for it, I don't. Even if they were to keep the same storyline
Mm-hmm.
with this, and just say there was more than one alien that was there, I don't see that it will be too far off because of the way they're reinventing characters as it is now, right? When you look at different movies that they're trying to create a different, how can I say, a different view of what the character is versus what the character was, right? So I even with this alien, I think they're going to probably give it a little bit more characteristics than the previous one. Like Jeff was saying with the thing in the 1980s, that one would take over your body. You're still able to communicate. It's not until like under duress or stress that it actually came out. You know what I'm saying? And so even now, so you're looking at maybe it taking even a different one where it just clones you. Because for me, I think it was a matter of cloning, right? Because there were certain things that it could not, the alien could not do or replicate, and
Right.
that's how they would.
All right. Like, so if you had a cavity and you had it filled in your mouth, when they
The metal.
replicated you, right, you wouldn't see the cavity that was filled in their mouth. Even, and if you remember at the end of the prequel,
Mm-hmm.
the woman finally figured out the last guy that was with her was one of the aliens, because the guy had his ear in real life. The real guy had his ear pierced on the left side. But when she looked at him, his ear was pierced on the left side. So that's how she figured it was the alien.
Right.
Now let me add this in, and just to give our fans, listeners, a heads up tonight. We're going to be really comic book heavy tonight. They actually did do a comic book that was kind of like a sequel to the ending of the first movie. Whereas in Kurt Russell's character was still alive, but he ended up fighting a whole bunch more of the aliens and whatnot. Now, I don't remember what happened at the very, very end, but it did happen. You know what I mean? They did do it in comic book form anyway. So for our listeners, what do you think? John Carpenter is a very good movie director. I mean, do you think that something will happen? Do you think there will be either a sequel or a prequel made for the thing? If you do, drop us a line at drbloodstone@gmail.com and let us know what you think. All right, let's move on. Apple TV and director Sam Hargrove, the writer of The Last Frontier, will return on a film adaptation of the 2021 comic called Last Flight Out. The premise behind Last Flight Out is, with just 24 hours left until the last transport arc leaves an uninhabitable Earth, its designer's estranged daughter goes missing, leaving him to try to make amends with her before the end of the world. That sounds kind of, well, nah, it wasn't a total thing. It was still like a destruction thing. What was the name of that movie where the world was going to be a natural disaster, or what was it, a comet going to hit? I don't remember what it was. And this lady, she worked for a news agency.
Tia Leone, I think, was I can't remember the title of the movie. Is this the one where there's like I think it's like a comet, and she's on the beach with her father, and then...
That's the one. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I have
no idea what the movie is. I can remember that scene, though, where she dies.
Right, when that big old wave hit them. Yeah. So, this is another comic book. I never read it. I didn't know anything about it, but, I mean, it's an interesting premise anyway. I mean, I'm wondering, are they going to make it realistically? If they only have 24 hours, I'm thinking this has got to be made into a movie, not a series. You know, how does it sound to you, Robert? Does it sound like remotely interesting to you?
I think it's been done. The movie that you guys are talking about is Deep Impact, if I'm not mistaken.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, but I think that kind of end of the world type movie is done. I think there's only so many ways you can destroy the world without repeating it. Asteroids. You had, what was that asteroid movie with Bruce Willis?
Yeah.
Armageddon. You had Armageddon.
Right.
You had Deep Impact. You had which one? The movie where Morgan Freeman was president, and then the world was ending.
Oh, yeah. I remember. I know the one you're talking about. I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, I do remember that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think now so much more, rather than the threat coming, they do have many movies, but rather than the threat coming from outer space, I think now so much more movies will probably turn into the threat being coming from Earth itself. Like you said, like now a natural disaster wiping it out through climate disorder or something like that. I think that's in my opinion, that's the route that they would go, because you've done so many alien movies where something from outer space is coming and taking over. Even if you look at what movie is that? Predator has a new movie coming out, and even they're not attacking us. We're traveling to a different world to go with the Predator. You see what I'm saying? So, like, I think they're shifting the whole idea that the world is going to end through like an alien invasion type deal, and putting it more so of exploration. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how I see it when it comes to just the movies now. I don't think someone's going to be looking forward to watching another like asteroid hit the Earth. Even if they do come up with a movie like that, I think it'll be less about the asteroid and more about the actual interactions that are happening. So you know, it's like the asteroid becomes secondary to the actual storyline and plot to what is actually happening.
Have either of you seen, since you're talking about, like, it wasn't like a complete, well, put it like this, it was just like the very beginnings of what was going to end up being a lot of destruction to the world. Did either of you see the 2020 film with Kristen Stewart, Underwater?
I have.
So, Jeff, okay, this is a spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen this movie, but it's 5 years old now. At the end, did you know the giant creature at the end that was Cthulhu?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it was. It was. So they kind of mixed some H.P. Lovecraft in there at the end of the film. But yeah. So, I mean, Robert, I get you. I mean, right. How many comets are going to hit the world? And, come on. Well, but anyway, what do you say, Jeff? I mean, if another natural disaster movie and if again, I'm thinking if this does ever happen, I'm thinking this is going to have to be like a movie. Because if it's only 24 hours left, each episode is going to be 1 hour that goes by. You know what I mean? It's kind of lame. So I'm thinking it would be like a movie. Well, I mean, what do you think? Do you think another disaster?
I mean, it could be like that old show there, 24.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know Sam Hargrave. I've never seen Last Frontier. I haven't read the comic. I mean, to me, this kind of sounds like almost like a Hallmark movie, where father becomes disenchanted with his daughter, or they don't have any contact for whatever reason, that the daughter decides to ghost them, or whatever. Right. And he's got to find her before the world ends. I mean, it's. I'm going to save my 1650 in my wallet if this is a movie. I'm going to keep that money in my wallet. I don't have Apple TV as a streaming service, so I'm not feeling the love, I guess.
Yeah. I'm kind of like with Robert. All these disaster films. Everything is coming from outer space. I agree wholeheartedly. There's enough stuff on here on the Earth. Look, out of all the ocean, how much is it that we actually have explored? Is it like what 10% or
not much?
Yeah, I think like 10 to 15% of the ocean.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
There's still some trenches that are unable to be visited or seen.
Right.
Because of that.
Because it's like 10 miles deep. And I remember a few years ago, scientists were like scratching their head because they heard this noise underwater and they have no idea. I mean, and it was so loud, it was like picked up on machinery all over the world. And it didn't sound like a volcano or anything. It sounded like some type of animal. And they were trying to figure out what kind of animal could make a noise that loud where it could be heard all and picked up on sensitive, equipment all over the world. So yeah, that's pretty terrifying in itself. I'm thinking there's enough stuff down there, that we don't even know about. If it ever were able to come out of the water on land, I think it would be like a nightmare. So yeah, I think we've had enough of the natural disasters, at least from outer space.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, science needs to relax, right? Yeah. You get the noise. We don't need to know what made it. Just know we don't need to go in that direction.
Yeah. If it came from here, let's stay away from there. Yeah, I got you.
Sometimes because you have the ability to do something doesn't mean you should do it.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's true. All right. Well, next up, once again, we're back on a comic book. Blumhouse Studios. These are the people who made the Black Phone 2 movie, and I'm assuming they made the Black House 1 movie as well. Black Phone 2 and 1 and 2. They've secured the rights for the 2019 comic book series called Something is Killing the Children after a multi-company bidding war for a live-action theatrical release and an adult animated series. The premise behind it is protagonist Erica Slaughter hunts down monsters who are killing children in the town where she lives in Archers Peak, Wisconsin. And it also talks about the complex relationship she has with the Order of St. George. And these are the people who actually trained her how to fight and kill these monsters. So What's it sound like to you, Jeff? Does it sound like something remotely interesting? And I will say, if they make this into a movie or a series, if they're going to keep it exactly like the comic books, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be like very gory. You know what I mean? It's going to be pretty rough. What say you? Do you think this is?
I would go. I mean, this sounds something that would be like right up my alley. I'm not familiar with the comic, of course, but hey, I would put my money down and take my chances. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Except
it was. I mean,
I don't know what the Order of St. George is. I probably should, but I mean, is it a real thing or is it just like a plot device?
I think no. Those are just like you say. I don't even know if it's real. I just know that, and I only collected because when this comic book came out, I mean, this was huge. I mean, collectors, and just the story itself was so good. People were all over. I never really got into it. I collected maybe one or two key issues or what have you, but I don't really even. I've never really read much about it. I read many of the books in the series, but it was huge. I mean, really, really big. It was a really big property that came out that a lot of people were really into. And I'm thinking with its popularity, this might come out kind of like that series Last of Us. I think it would probably be just as big or maybe even, a little bit, probably around the same, probably just as big. But either or, what does it sound like to you, Robert? Does it sound like this might be interesting movie or animated series?
Actually, I do. I think this will be a good one. I mean, you can never get enough of well, I find it interesting the type of monsters that it will be. But I mean, I know it's been done before, but I think there's still room in that arena as far as hunting monsters and whenever you touch children, it's always something, right? I shouldn't say touch children, but whenever
let's correct that. Let's correct that.
when you're preying on the kids as far as the monsters go, and you have that person stepping in, it reminds me of was it a movie where in that one the children were being preyed upon, right? But it was to man, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. You kind of it was kind of like the kids were being preyed upon, and I'm trying to remember the movie. It's gonna, you know what? Let me not waste too much time. When it comes back to me, I'll bring it up. But the plot reminds me of another movie, but I think, like I said, there's room still in this arena where, if it's anything like what's that? There's a new show that came out where everyone's stuck in this town, and
is it them? They?
Yeah, them, yeah.
Is it them? Where everyone's stuck in a town and you can't leave?
Yeah.
And at night, everyone has to like hide inside? Right. Yeah. So if it's anything like that, if it's anything like that, I think it's going to be a hit, like you guys were saying, because the writing for that was to me is very good. I think that the premise is very good, and just the development of the characters and everything that's going on and the way they lead you into the story, I think is very good. So hopefully the writers who write this, which is Blumhouse, and Blumhouse does do a good job. I have to say that I've been very pleased with the movies that I've seen that was directed by Blumhouse or produced by Blumhouse. So I can honestly say I think this is going to be a good thing.
Yeah, most of their movies are good. I mean, they did mess up with the last. What's the movie with the robot girl, Megan?
Megan, yeah.
They did. Even they admitted they screwed up the last one, but the first one was okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good. Think about this. This is what's kind of funny. I would go back as far back to say, well, no, they did it. They just didn't do it very often. So, okay, a kid got killed in Jaws, right? The kid that went out there on his little floaty float thing and he was killed.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. It was always, that was just something that you didn't see very often. I mean, it happened, but you didn't see kids usually get killed in horror movies or any kind of like drama or something. Yeah, a kid can die, something like that. But I'm saying in horror movies, that wasn't something that you saw very often. But it just seems like, I don't know. I would say from the 80s on forward, I don't think people have a problem with killing kids now. I think it makes it more real. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, if something weird's happened, on the planet, something weird, or some town and there's a serial killer going around, chances are some kids going to be, taken out as well. I mean, I
right. But I don't think I have to disagree a little bit with they're okay with it. I think shock value, yes. In order for you to sympathize with the protagonist in whatever movie it is, the antagonist, if they are harming children, you're gonna want them to suffer. Like kids is like in a lot of movies, kids are the how you say that, the way you draw the line at, right? Even with when you're watching movies and they're talking about taking out the family and they're like, you want me to take out the wife and the kids too, even the kids? Nah, I can't do the kids. They'll kill the wife, but the kids, off limits. So it's I think that with the fact that, especially if we're going back to the Blumhouse movie, with the fact that they are going after kids, you're gonna want that female heroine to really do what she has to do in order to save these kids and make sure she can figure out what's going on in the town and why they're disappearing. So yeah, it's gonna put you on her side even right in the beginning.
Right.
So for the history-minded folks, I will tell you, the Order of St. George is the highest military decoration of the Russian Empire.
Oh, okay.
So it is a real thing.
Interesting. So Erica knows Krav Maga and all these other different techniques to fight these monsters. Okay. Well, we'll see. I mean, like I say, I mean, it sounds, I mean, as big as I remember how popular the comic book series was. So if they can bring it to life on, either on the big screen or a live action, or animated series, I'm going to agree with both of you. I think it might actually be pretty good. So once again, we got another comic book story here. Netflix has given a straight-to-series order for an adaptation of the 1995 comic series Black Hole from New Regency. Now, this I've never heard of this comic book before, right? The premise behind it is it's an adult-themed comic book from writer Charles Burns about a group of teens who become mutated after contracting an STD. So now, it's not the first horror movie we've ever had where STDs or sexual contact brought about supernatural or monsters, because that one creepy movie, once again, takes place in my hometown, Detroit, was that horror movie It Follows. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
That's a creepy movie, man. I love it, but that was a creepy movie. The thing is, that actually takes place, like I say, in Detroit. But at the end of the day as well, you remember the way that you'd keep the monster away from you. You'd have to have sex with another person. And once you contracted whatever it is that brought the monster to you, excuse me, you'd have to go ahead and have sex with somebody. So then the monster will come after them. But then if the monster killed them, the monster was going to come back after you again. What do you say, Jeff? How's this sound? You think this is going to be anything decent?
Well, I was hoping it was going to be horror, because I was sitting here thinking, and for some reason, the New Mutants came to mind. So, I mean, I could easily see this as we're going to engage in unprotected sex. We're going to get an STD. We're going to mutate, and we're going to have like superpowers, and we're going to help save the world.
Okay.
So I'm glad to see it's horror, but are we going to have more zombies? I mean, is it going to be something like the various 28 Days Later? I remember watching one of the movies, or 20. I think it was the first one, maybe, and the father was sitting under a steel contraption, and a drop of infected blood fell into his eye, and then bam, he became like a zombie. So are we looking at like Living Dead? Are we looking like supernatural creatures? I don't have any information on that, so it's all a little unformed for me personally. But hey, I'd consider seeing it. And I mean, It's going to be on Netflix, and I have Netflix, so it's not going to cost me anything extra. So hey, you know what? I'd watch it. I'd hit an episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the comic. The only thing I've ever seen of the comic was a cover, and the cover, I guess, showed one of the people that was mutated, and it was like horrific. I mean, if what I saw on that cover was something that was actually walking around, oh my gosh, the nightmare fuel is an understatement. So I don't know how gross they're going to make them things look. I don't know if it's going to be as bad bad as they look in the comics. I don't know, but at least the cover I saw, but man, it really, really gross. But for our fans, our listeners, what do you think? Do you think that this sounds like it could be a decent movie or Netflix movie anyway? Let us know. Drop us an email at drbloodstone@gmail.com.
I think it's gonna be a little crazy movie. It kind of puts me in the mind, and I know you mentioned It Follows, but there was another one that this woman was possessed, and every time she had sex with somebody, her her private area would bite their penis off.
Yeah, and I know the one you're I never saw, but I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a horror film or something like that. And I think and back then I was like, I think this is I don't know. The premise to me, like just being, I got gonorrhea, now I know I can, lift up a car. It's kind of where they plan on going with it, but
yeah,
but yeah, drop a line. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, I got you. All right, so I think this is going to be the last comic book story for tonight. An adult animated adaptation of Robert Kirkman's Energon universe featuring G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Void Rivals. Void Rivals is a comic book series that came out in 2023. Is being written by Joe Henderson, who will also serve as the showrunner. The premise of the story is war rivals Derek and her name is Solilia, are two pilots from two different armies at war with each other for a very long time from this ancient alien war. They end up crashing on a barren planet, and they're forced to cooperate with each other to survive. And once they're, there, they learn the truth that they are actually of the same race, and that the whole war is based on secrets and lies. And now this was another huge comic book series that came out. I started collecting. I didn't go through the entire series. I don't even know if it's still, if it's done. But I did start collecting, but never got a chance to read it. And interesting enough, this was not the first time that they ever put G.I. Joe and the Transformers together. In the original Transformers comic book series, they actually did have a crossover with the Transformers and G.I. Joe. And Matter of fact, they had even been saying for years. I think they said it was something in. It was in the. I think the last GI Joe movie. There was something that was said or whatever, or was an Easter egg or whatever that kind of pointed towards the Transformers or whatever. But what say you, Jeff? Does this sound like something interesting where we're going to actually have G.I. Joe and the Transformers, yeah, I guess, fighting together against the Decepticon and whatever other forces or what have you? Because, again, I don't know everything about, even though I got a couple of books, I don't know everything about it. Do you think that this is going to be a decent series, a decent movie?
I would take a look, because I think that Kirkman, and I can't recall the series, but it's on Amazon Prime, about the young man who's a superhero whose father came from another planet, and he's
Invincible.
Invincible.
Yes. I like that show. I like that. Too. So I would watch this. I would go to see it.
Yeah. Like you said, definitely, if it's going to be in the same ballpark like Invincible is, yeah, for sure. What are you thinking, Robert? You think this would be something decent?
Oh, definitely. I think it's going to be something decent. It puts me in mind of and I'll tell you, Planet of the Apes. When you first were describing, I was like, Planet of the Apes, where they realized they didn't travel anywhere else, but they landed back on Earth.
Right.
Yeah, and so I think that's going to be something interesting, because it's like what. So what will be interesting is going to be, again, the backstory for it, how the war started, because usually I'm not gonna say usually. Let me not use the word usually, but if you have these two people, like a Romeo, and I'll just say like a Romeo and Juliet type situation, right? Okay. Because you have two feuding families, and these two are now going to be
allies,
right? So then it's going to be mainly. I wonder if they're going to do a lot of foreshadowing. Is that the correct term, foreshadowing? When you go back? Yeah, foreshadowing. To go back to see what it is that led the families to where they are now, where they're feuding.
Okay.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting. I would definitely watch it.
Yeah, I think it's so funny that now so many different movies of all different genres are coming out that are based on comic books. Because biggest complaint people is like, oh, there's nothing original anymore. But man, I got to tell you, they keep cranking out these new comic book series, and man, it's really these writers really have some great imaginations, and really a lot of great stories that they're writing and what have you, and most definitely. I think they would. Many of them would turn out great on the big screen or in a series. Like, look how popular that Last of Us is. Man, oh man, that show is extremely popular. And and like I say, once again, coming from a comic book background, so yeah, I'm gonna agree with both of you. I think that this movie does sound, when it does come out, I think it would be pretty interesting actually to see. Now, what I will say is, now this is my disclaimer. I don't think I've ever seen a good G.I. Joe or Transformer movie. I don't like none of them.
What?
None.
No.
The only Transformers movie I like is the original animated one that came out back in the 80s. That's the only Transformer. Wait. No, I'm sorry. That was, even though it's related, but it wasn't in the same Transformers line. I did think Bumblebee was a great movie. Now, that was good.
It was.
But the other movies, no. My wife, she can sit there and watch that. I can't watch that crap. I don't think they're great.
I've got 2 words for you, Ron.
Yes.
Megan Fox.
Yeah. It's okay. That's all right. That's okay. Not at least in my opinion, movies are subjective, at least in my opinion. I didn't like any of them. So, all right. So let's bring it on home now. We are at the last point of the show where we are going to go through the question of the week. So, Robert and Jeff, this is the question of the week. You have to eliminate one sci-fi franchise from history for good. Once it's gone, it will never return, and no one except you will ever remember that it ever even existed. So, of these different shows, different series, which one is going to go on the chopping block? So we have Star Trek, we have Star Wars, we have X-Files, we have the Alien series, movies and series, Battlestar Galactica, The Matrix, and Back to the Future. So, Robert, which one is going on a chopping block?
This is it. Man, that's a tough one for me. Because, okay. So let's see. Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that's going to go to the chopping block. Even the remake was excellent. I don't know if you guys saw the remake to Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, that whole series had me in there with the clones and all this other stuff. Yeah, there's no way that can go to the chopping block.
Mm-hmm.
X-Files, that was another level TV series to me.
Mm-hmm.
With all the twists, turns, and just like 1 minute you're like, yeah, man, Mulder knows what he's talking about. And you're like, well, I don't know, Mulder, Scully's, So yeah. I think with that, even with the Smoking Man, no, there's no way we could get rid of X-Files.
Okay.
It brings me down to the Matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think if I were to look at it, it would have to either be the Matrix or Back to the Future, and I would say the Matrix. I think,
really?
Yeah, I think after the first Matrix, which they drew you in very, very well.
Right.
You're looking for something spectacular with part 2.
Right.
I don't think they delivered. Because they ended this if you remember how they ended the first one,
right?
They're like, oh man, he's doing the Superman thing again where he's flying around. So now Neo's supposed to be this invincible dude.
Right.
Yet in part 2, part 3, I think they kind of Matrix Revolution, they kind of tried with having the what's his name? Smith come back and be that nemesis for him because of the fact that he went into Smith. But it's like, I don't know. I was not with which one was that? Where they found Zion.
Yeah.
It was just like, And then the last one that they made where the Matrix said they couldn't defeat Neo. So what they did was they re-put him into the system and then made it so that he and what's her name? Trinity never met. And they led separate lives within the Matrix. Right. And they eventually get back to each other.
Right.
It's just like, it was I found that as it went on, you were like, oh, this one's good, but this is just all right. So it didn't go in the way in which I felt, in my opinion, like you said, it's all subjective, that it should have gone with Neo, with the progression of his character.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely becoming, and now you have like a more of a recruiting of others into what he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I still don't feel, even with the last one, you're like, oh, well, now he has to start all over because he just realized his full evolution of what his character can do.
Uh-huh.
So
okay.
it's, yeah.
So for you, the Matrix hits the chopping block.
This hits the chopping block.
Okay. All right. So, Jeff, between Star Trek, Star Wars, X-Files, Alien, Battlestar Galactica, The Matrix, or Back to the Future, Which one goes on a chopping block?
Well, I'm going to agree with Robert as far as the last Matrix movie was. I sat and I tried to watch it when it came out, and I didn't understand what the heck was going on, and I just go, eh. However, I am going to say I'm going to be like Highlander, and I'm going to say there can be only one, and that one's going to be Battlestar. And I'm going to say that I had a tremendous fanboy crush on Anne Lockhart when that show was on, but I thought it was too derivative of the other sci-fi stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean,
So,
I liked the blasters, and I liked I can't think of his name. Not Adama's son, but the other guy is Starbuck.
Starbuck. Okay.
You know, I like Starbuck, but you know, it's too derivative of other sci-fi shows around the same time. You know.
Okay.
Wow, really?
Really?
Wow. I don't know. I feel like it was even for me, like even for when you go to the original Battlestar Galactica, like you were saying, it kind of puts me in the mind of it being ahead of its time when it came to even the special effects and everything like that.
Well, I like the Cylons. You know, the Cylons were pretty cool, and they had that one guy that was like the human agent. I can't think of the John Colicos, I think was the actor's name that played the human villain in the series. But I mean, you know, it's kind of like Lost to Space. You know, they go up, they're trying to get back to Earth. They don't know where the heck Earth is. You know, they've got the blasters and the ray guns, and they've got the pilot. So there's a little bit of Star Wars in there, and that just, you know, I mean, it was okay. I watched it, but if you're going up against Star Trek, Star Wars, X-Files, even Back to the Future, you know, they're like the weakest link, I guess.
did you all ever see? I don't remember. It was a movie that came out, where the Battlestar Galactica actually made it to Earth, and all I remember was it was Starbuck and Apollo had these. They were supposed to look like futuristic motorcycles. And they had the same helmets on that they, you know, when they were in the spaceships, the fighter ships, they had those same ones on. And I kind of remember, I don't know if it was some police. No, I don't think it was police. Maybe it was like some motorcycle gang people or whatever was like riding around them. So what they did, they just hit a button on their motorcycle and these little wings came out and they just took off flying in the air. Y'all ever saw that? I mean, as a
I
kid,
did not.
like, as a kid, like, wow, that's cool. And as an adult, like, oh my God, that's so stupid. Yeah, you look for it on YouTube. I'm sure somebody has, if not the whole thing. I'm sure they have bits and pieces of it. But yeah, the Galactica finally made it to Earth. I don't even remember the year, but yeah, I don't even remember much. That's what I remember. That's what's burned in my brain, that motorcycle scene. Well, for me, this is not difficult, really, and I'll tell you why. For me, the chopping block, it's going to be Back to the Future. Reason being, I've never seen any of them. So I'm not really missing out on anything. I mean, I know what they're about. I've seen like bits and pieces or what have you from, you know, scenes from different movies or whatever. But honestly, it never really even seemed remotely interesting to me. I mean, I like time travel stories and things like that, but not my thing. So for me, it's Back to the Future is going to end up on a chopping block. And for our listeners, if you had to make the same decision, Or which one's going to be on your chopping block? Drop us an email at drbloodstone@gmail.com and let us know what you're thinking. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. So I would like to thank my co-host, Mr. Jeff McIntosh.
Stay warm, everybody.
And Mr. Robert Menard.
All right, take care. I'm sorry. I'm technical difficulties.
Yeah, technical difficulties. All right. Well, for all of our listeners, you can catch all of our episodes once they're uploaded. You can catch them on any of the platforms out there, your podcast, your favorite podcast platforms. You can find us. And you can also find all of our episodes that we have also on YouTube. And if you do listen to us on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up if you like the episode or what have you. And also, you can join us, subscribe, so that every time we put out a new episode, you'll be the first one to receive it. And with that being said, good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.